Still on this morning on ITV, your flagship program, and cruising on the wing of nationalism and you, we are welcome to the first segment of the discussion this morning, where we will be taking a look at a crucial issue of flood of the Campi. Flood of the Campi. In whose interest? With me to take a look at this morning, to my immediate right is Comrade Yahaya Wada. He is the coordinator, the national coordinator of the APC Solidarity, Youth Solidarity Forum.
Thank you, sir.
Comrade Yahaya Wada, nationalism and you.
It is my responsibility and duty to contribute my quota to the peace and progress of this country.
Very well. And to my far right is Comrade Dalhat Suleiman Bente. You're welcome to our studio, and I say nationalism and you.
It is my duty and responsibility to help build my country of birth.
You are very welcome.
Thank
On
you,
nationalism and you this morning, I remain your host, Ebenezer Oyetaki. Yes, flood of the Campi. And this happens whenever we are racing towards a new election year. It is almost becoming a culture. Comrade Yahaya, why so?
Let me start by saying it is a privilege, a rare privilege, to be on this platform today. I'm very grateful. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome.
With regards to this issue of people decamping, most especially when we are getting closer to new elections, I think it's not something new as far as this part of the world is concerned. There are so many reasons that can be adduced to why people defect from one political party to the other. We can talk of sometimes lack of political ideology among the political parties, political agenda, personal interest, lack of transparency, but in the larger extent, I don't think it is in the interest of the entire populace or the country that most people defect from their party to the other.
Comrade Suleiman, let us take you from there.
Taking down to the bastard of this argument, I want to first and foremost take it from the historical point of view, the legal point of view, then you talk about ideology and morality. Defections are not new in our political system. It happened during the First Republic between the Action Group and NCNC when Akintola defected on the floor of the Western Parliament. Fast forwarding to the Second Republic, it equally happened during the time of the late governor of Kano State, Alhaji Abubakar Rimi, who defected from the PRP to the then NPP. Muhammadu Goni from GNPD to UNPP and all that. But what gives me concern is the gale of defection from the return of democracy, that is 1999 till date. This brazen gale of defection by politicians, which to me is not only alarming, disturbing and worrisome, but equally dangerous to our political growth. And I will come to that. But first and foremost, I want to tell you that the political parties are the one that gave these politicians this right to defect or abuse defection, so to say. Let me ask you one question. How many political parties in Nigeria today that have ideology? I can tell you none. No political party has ideology. Even if they have, they don't practice it. No political party has a workable manifesto. Even if they have, they don't implement it. No internal party democracy in all of the political parties. And again, no morality. And these are the basic components that form a political party and its operation. And once these are absent, it gives room for all these political shenanigans that we're seeing, defection here and there, which to me is not for the best interest of the masses. It's the height of political shenanigans as far as I'm concerned. People defecting from one political party today, tomorrow they'll defect to another political party. So this lack of internal party democracy, this lack of political morality and manifesto within the political parties is vitally what is giving right for this defection that we're seeing. And I can tell you that it's not for the large interest of the masses, but for selfish reasons.
Is it true that the party don't have manifestos? Because I know without manifesto, no party will be registered.
I can speak for my party, APC. I believe APC has a manifesto. And it was on that platform that people stood for them from when President Muhammadu Buhari was elected in 2015. People so much believed in the manifesto of APC, for example, and people came out largely because of what they saw in the manifesto of the party. The problem we have generally, as far as party having political manifesto, has to do with some state governors or chief executive deviating from what they have in the manifesto, doing something that a kind of deviating from what is rightly in the party manifesto. That is the only problem we have with some state executive, and even at the national level to some extent. But when we talk about party having manifesto, I so much believe that APC, which is the party which I belong to, I believe they have the political manifesto, they have the manifesto. And by God's grace, not for insecurity in some part of the country, and largely the economy, the kind of this thing we met in 2015, that the president met in 2015, that led to some little challenges that confronted the party. But as I'm talking now, we are gradually overcoming all those things. So,
Comrade Dahatu raised a very important issue in line of this discourse. He said, lack of internal party democracy is the reason why the flood of decamping is taking place. Do you agree?
Like I stated earlier in my opening statement, I made it very clear that there are some factors that sometimes leads to people decamping from one party to the other. And one of the factors I made mention was lack of transparency process in the party politics. And when I talk of lack of transparency, it has to do with all this internal party crisis. For example, during the convention and party primaries, instead of allowing people to decide on their own, once we talk about democracy, it has to do with people having their willing mind, their individual independent mind to take their position. Not you a kind of forcing people into taking position by saying that let us go for this. You force people into taking position. Meanwhile, there are people who on their own have seen something different from what you are talking. Maybe, for example, during the party primaries, the party delegates who are supposed to be voting for the would-be candidate at the end of the day may be going for one particular person. Maybe there will be a kind of 60-40 position. But at the end of the day, you see some party leaders coming to force you people, saying that let us go for this person. Maybe the person they are rooting for may be the person with less popularity. So at the end of the day, the person in quote, who ought to have won maybe the primary at the end of the day, will have no option than to say, okay, let me just leave this party for them and go to another party. We have seen that, for example, in your state, in Edo State, we saw what happened when Obaseki was re-elected. Obaseki, who was the sitting governor, was forced to a standstill. And at the end of the day, he had no option than to leave the party. He went to the other party, and people re-elected him. So that is the major reason why this internal party...
Even Mimiko, sometimes in Ondo State did it.
State, yes. He was in PDP. He was the favorite candidate of the delegates, of the masses.
He moved to Labour and he won.
He won the election. So we have so many examples to that. So one of the reasons why we always have problems, we see people decamping, defecting from one party to the other. I believe one of the factors is this issue of lack of internal party primaries.
The Comrade Dahat, now, how do we balance between the political right of an individual and the concerns for decampee, for flood of decampee? How do we balance that in the eyes of law and morality?
Yeah, most time people say there's no morality in politics. But I argue and say, yes, there won't be morality in politics, but at least there should be conscience. There should be conscience even for the sake of posterity, because whatever you do, whether good or bad, posterity is always there to speak for you. Most of these politicians defect for personal gain. And I will tell you why. What the laws tell us, what will prompt a politician to defect is 2 to 3 things. Leadership crisis, faction or division in the party. But today, sir, as I speak to you, 8 out of 10 politicians who defect, none of them is defecting under that particular concern. None. That my party is having a leadership problem, we have faction in the party, that's why I'm defecting. None. The recent one that happened, the big one that happened recently, who is the deputy minority leader in the Senate, of course he's from my state. Listen to him when he was speaking to the press, that he don't have any problem with PDP. He's only defecting because the governor is fighting him. Can you imagine? And in the eyes of the law, it's wrong. And what I expected to happen is what the section of the Constitution, section 68, subsection 1G, talk about a National Assembly member defecting to another party. The seat should be declared vacant. But are we applying it? The answer is no. The last time something close to that happened was Efidayo Adegunde from Ondo State that represented Akure South, who left Labour Party that brought him to power and joined the then ACN in 2013 or 2014. That judgment go through out to the Supreme Court, and there was a verdict pronounced by the Supreme Court which sacked him and he lost his seat. So that is why people like Falana today are crying that we should always make reference to that particular judgment, since the apex court of the land have passed a verdict in that regard. But because the laws are weakened, the politicians are taking advantage of it and doing what they feel like doing. To me, any politician, particularly a National Assembly member, whose a particular section of the Constitution have prescribed what will happen to any of them that defect. If any of them should defect, then I think that law should be applied to him. When we do that, we must have been setting a good precedent moving forward.
Now, let me come back to you again. The man in question that decamped says, my governor is fighting me. And you know how powerful these governors are in their state. They are almost like an emperor. It is because of them that we are having the constraint of signing and assenting, delay ascension to assenting the electoral bill now, because of their paramount power. Don't you think a question of political right can be anchored by the decampee who says, my governor is probably going to frustrate him out of contest so that he may not return and the rest of it? Don't you think that is a reasonable excuse?
Well, it is the political right and fundamental right of every politician to defect when he didn't find the favorable atmosphere to operate in the current political party is. Of course, I gave you an example, it started even in the First Republic. So it is the right of a politician to pitch tent with any favorable political party of his choice. But when you say your governor is fighting you, is it all about you? What of your people? What if your governor is in good time with your people and you are sitting in National Assembly because you were voted by a section of a senatorial district or constituency? So if the governor is fighting only you, what about your people? If he is in good time with your people, is it all about you? Are you speaking for yourself or you are speaking for your people? What if your people want you to remain in the PDP? To the man we are talking about now, this is the same problem he's facing. Because, you know, thank God that Nigerians are becoming conscious politically every day. People now begin to ask themselves questions. You told us several things about the APC in the past. You use venoms, offensive venoms against the APC, ways that are not palatable against the APC. And today, you've gone back to your vomit, returning to that party that you once blackmailed. So people begin to lose faith in such situation. If you say he's fighting the governor, I think there are certain machineries laid down by any political party before one can defect. Did you follow them? We have reconciliation, reaching out. The leadership of the party, both national and state, must play a role in reconciling. Have you passed through all these processes? Or on its own, simply because he and the governor are having encounter here and there, he decided to now defect to the political party? It's not, I mean, to the APC. It's not all about yourself all the time. You think about what your people will say or feel about your decision.
Coming generally to the question of the campaign vis-a-vis political parties. For example, the APC had just they had set up a committee led by the former governor of Nasarawa State, Reconciliation Committee, as a result of litanies of what do you call it, discontentment from congresses. Even Osun State is not spared. All of those places, they are in high-wired political discontentment as a result of congresses, world congresses, local government congresses, and state congresses, and things of that nature. And that has divided, create factions within the party. Like in Osun State, you have the factions of Aregbesola against the Oyetola and things of that nature. Now, whom do we blame? Is it the Dikampis or the political party? You. Whom do we blame? Is it the Dikampis or the political party?
I think when we talk of a political party is an organization of people with the like minds, people with same kind of ideology, people that believe in the same thing. A political party is not just there, but we have people that ensure that there is political party. The people that, if we talk who should be blamed, I think politicians should be blamed, not the political party. Those who defect, the defectors, they should be blamed. Because where you are running to, just like what my brother here said, you were once in the opposition, in the other side, criticizing, condemning the action of this other political party. But because you notice your interest is no longer protected in your present party, all you need to do is to say, okay, I'm defecting. After maybe reaching an agreement with some people, the power that be in your state, by telling them, let me join you people, but this is my interest, this is what I'm looking for. At the end of the day, you end up decamping, defecting, not for the interest of the masses, but for your selfish interest. So the person, if we should, I think the individuals should be blamed, not the political party. You can remain in your political party. We saw it happen in this country. We have some people who we can use as examples as far as that is concerned. We have President Muhammadu Buhari, who has been contesting from the opposition. In 2003, he was in APP. He contested for the same position. In 2007, when the party was changed, the name, the nomenclature was changed to ANPP, he also contested on that platform. Even when some people were, I think we were told that even Obasanjo, the then president, even to some extent, approached him to join PDP. But he refused. He was still left in that party. He still remained in that party until CPC was formed. He formed CPC. We knew what happened. He lost the election. ACN was there until when this measure came up. We also have an example. We have example in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the former governor of Lagos State. He has been in the opposition. Despite all the fight, all the intimidation from the ruling party then, he still remained in that party. What he did was to ensure that his own ideology, what he believed as an opposition person, come to pass. And at the end of the day, they were able to actualize it in 2015. So you don't need to run to another party where you already have a structure. They believe is that on your own, you cannot build your own structure. You cannot use your own strength. If you are popular within your territory, your vicinity, what you need to do, approach your people, look at what is happening. At the end of the day, you should be able to fight for your party internally, not that you go to another where you already have a ground. You believe you can just go and use. No, that is not the best.
Before I will come to Comrade Suleiman, let me quickly take you up on this issue you raised. You have just mentioned two very strong political character and personality. You definitely know that no governor can lift the feet of Buhari even as a man who is contesting, not as a president. You can't lift his feet, and no matter how popular you think you are as a governor, when his waves, political waves, enter your state and things of that nature. You are talking about Bola Tinubu, that when all the political shenanigans and waves consumed the entire governors of the Southwest, he was standing. And he changed from the party's name from AD to ACN, and with ACN, though they were maintaining their AD fizzled out under him. This shows that he's a political master strategist. You have just shown two people who their political waves can even drown some governors that are sitting. But you have not taken into consideration the political aspirants that don't have this kind of a heavy weight. Taking into consideration the majestic powers of governors and their intendment to keep on manipulating system. How do you reconcile that?
You know, like I said, not just these two, we know they are political heavyweights, but not just these few politicians. My late former governor, Prince Abubakar Audu, can also be used as a very good example. Prince Abubakar Audu was in the opposition. After he lost the election in 2003, the subsequent election, he kept on coming. He was losing, but he kept on coming back to his people. I was one of his ardent fans. He kept on coming, and we kept on believing him until 2015, when God says that was supposed to be the time before he eventually died after the election was almost.
Very well. Let me move to Suleiman. Suleiman,
sir.
Now, some people have a very strong opinion that the overbearing influence of governors on political party is depriving the party of its authority to actually manage itself, and this is leading to political discontentment as seen by litanies of cases of discontentment during congresses and the rest of it. Your take on this?
It is simple, sir. You made mention of between the campaigns and the party who is to be blamed. I think who are the political parties? Are the same political actors. The people who are managing these political parties are the same gladiators in the political space. And coming back to your question, as I'm sitting here as a citizen of Nigeria, I'm worried. Worried in the sense that the overbearing influence by the state governors across political divides, whether in PDP or APC, is worrisome. And how can we correct that? Electoral amendments are there, but how much ready are we to amend those, to do those amendments? The people who are supposed to do the amendment in the National Assembly, they are former governors, some of them were ministers, they benefited from the executive, they benefited from the state project and all that. So if we did not amend the constitution in such a way that this so much power that the state governors are holding in their custody, I think we have a very long way to go. Because primary election, for example, that you are talking about, whether it's direct or indirect primary, it is still the governor that will decide who will be there. One, who put up the delegate in all the various wards, from the ward level, local government and state level, is the governors. They use their influence to choose who will be there as a delegate. And when you talk about direct primary, the valid register itself is not a valid document anymore, because they manipulate it and put the names of people they want to be there. They cause artificial insecurity on the day of primary election. We have seen it, witnessed it happen in this country. So if we are not ready to amend our electoral acts, honestly speaking, I think the government will continue to have their way, because for now they are the defining factor and they dictate what happens politically, both from the state level to the national level. Because even the president sometimes, they come together to coerce the president in order to agree to a particular demand of theirs. We have seen it happen over time. So we need to correct our electoral act in order to reduce these shenanigans.
Comrade Yahaya?
Yes, sir.
Your party, the largest party, because that is the largest party in the continent of Africa today,
Very true, sir.
has been under caretaker committee. We're going to about 2 years now, if it has not completed 2 years. In the first 6 months, the caretaker committee chairman, who himself is an executive governor, was applauded. To the first eight months, he was applauded but from 1 year now, that popularity is nosediving, because people want to see him out, so that a substantive this thing can be there, a substantive executive can be there, and things of that nature. And it's not forthcoming. Now that you people have made a choice of February 26th as your convention day to elect a substantive executive and things of that nature, we were hearing that there was a lobby at the presidency, and it took the president himself, Muhammadu Buhari, standing firm before they decided to withdraw themselves and stick to that date. How much concern do you have about this, and why so?
I think my last comments about this, I think the last time I came to this place, I said something about this particular question to some extent. In as much as I know the Boni-led committee, they have done very well to bring the kind of sanity and the kind of trust so many people have for the party now. But when you should know where to go where the ovation is loud. In fact, the ovation is even loudest now. We have appealed to the president, who we believe is the leader of the party, that he should ensure that the convention come to pass. And in order for the Boni-led committee not to cause more problem for the party, or not to discredit every good he has done for the party, I think the best thing for him to do now is to ensure credible process in the forthcoming convention. In as much as I believe this speculation, I'm not hearing from you for the, I mean, you're not the first person I'm hearing this from. I've even read on pages of newspaper that they met the president, that it was the president that turned them down. So I think there was no need for that in the first place. He's a state governor, he has done well for the party. Let him allow the process, the internal party process, to take place now. We are approaching the general election, 2023, we are in 2022, 2023 is here. So the Boni-led caretaker committee should ensure that this forthcoming convention, there shouldn't be any, it should be free. Let people come out to take their position. The delegates from across the state should come out, and there is even this thing I'm here, this issue of coming to say, okay, we are endorsing a particular party chairman, who should be the party chairman. We have about 6 or 7 people contesting for the chairmanship position of the party. Al-Makura is there, Akume is there, so many of them, they are there. They should allow these people to go to the delegate. go to the state governors, they should go to the grassroots, speak to the people what they want to achieve for the party, what they want to do for the party, what they believe should be done for the party, and let the delegate decide on that convention. Not that when people come to that place, at the end of the day, come out and say, okay, we are endorsing this particular person. I think for posterity, just like what he has done so far, for posterity, he should ensure under his leadership, he should ensure that the process, the internal party process takes place on that day. Thank you so much.
Very well. Comrade Dahas, many people say that the reason why the Boni-led caretaker committee has been drag-footing about conducting a convention is because of the paramount influence of the governors, who saw him as one of their own and want to keep on manipulating the system in such a way to gain political capital and advantages vis-a-vis 2023 general election. Do you share this view?
Absolutely. I share the view. Absolutely. When Mai Mala led caretaker committee came on board, before then, prior to that particular period, we know what transpired. The former chairman, Adam Oshiomhole, fought a lot of battles, and they were all for political reasons. Towards 2023 election, of course. You know, for politicians, the next election is always closer to the last election. So, I can say that Oshiomhole was more of a scapegoat for that particular war. Now, with the and of course, they were given more time because our convention or the APC convention ought to have happened either in November or December, and this was not possible because they asked for more time and they were given more time. And now, here we are, 26th of February was agreed upon as a date for the APC convention. Yet, the horse trading could not stop because some people are not still satisfied. They felt that they could have given more time. They want to buy more time in order to maneuver one or two things to have gain for themselves. Gain that are not for the benefit of the party faithful, not for the benefit of the nation at heart. And this is coming from his governor colleagues, who are the one enjoying the most privilege under this caretaker committee, because Mai Mala Buni is one of them. I even heard in some quarters that they were even trying to convince Mr. President again to extend the convention until primary elections are being held. And what is this telling you? They want their people to be in position of the ticket, whether governor, senator, and all that. Let their people be there before convention or hold. And I said, if that would be the case, then there will be no need for the convention. Because we need the convention before the primary election. So, just like Comrade Wada here said, I think Mai Mala Buni, to be fair to him, he have done well. We have seen the reach out he have done by wooing people into the APC. Big personalities that one could not have expected, they are all in the APC now. And the unity and sanity that he has restored to the APC is commendable. But I think it is time for him to go. Let the convention hold on the 26th. Whoever among them that has interest should please pipe low for now, for the benefit of this country, because the APC will want to sustain leadership, and the only way they can sustain leadership is to have an acceptable and smooth convention that will produce their leaders, new leadership for the party going into the general election proper. So I think it's time for Mai Mala Buni to go. Thank you.
The political discontent, because if you have a governor who decamp from PDP to APC, what you have done is that you have carried the entire state asset into another party.
That's right.
Then if you have a governor who decamp from APC to PDP, like it happened in Edo State, you have carried both the wallet of the party and the entire party evacuated into another party. And this kind of a thing, we always have an undercurrent, what do you call it, political discontentment that engender engenders insecurity and things of that nature, because people will keep on fighting back clandestinely, overtly or covertly.
When there's Brazilian injustice.
Yes. So how do we avoid this kind of unnecessary decamping? Because as it does happen sometimes, when it happened to APC, maybe PDP decamped to APC, APC applauded.
Yeah.
Then when APC decamped to PDP, APC feel pain, and PDP applauded, and the rest of it. And is that the way we should be going? How should we contain all of this flood of decamping in order to ensure political stability and requisite peace in political system and polity?
Sir, the only way we can curtail this, I'm going back now to the ground norm, which is our constitution, the constitution of the Federal Republic. I think the constitution is the one that even make it possible for this irresponsible defection that we're seeing here and there by politicians. Why did I say so? I've said it earlier on that both the Constitution and the Electoral Act is silent on how a defected politician should be sanctioned. The one that I mentioned earlier, the Section 68, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, and Section 109 of the same Constitution as amended, is only prescribed the sanction that will be meted out to National Assembly members. That of the governors is silence. And that is why PDP find it difficult recently when they wanted to fight Governor Matawale of Zamfara State when he defected to the APC. Because the Constitution is silent over that. Assuming we have a spelled out sanction, this is what will happen to a politician when you defect from a platform that has given you position of power and you defected without any reason, because they are not giving any reason.
But is it about the sanctions first? Isn't it supposed to be about the conditions that should be precedent before you can decamp and things of that nature? Yes.
I've said the condition before.
Okay.
I've said the condition.
Okay. Let's.
There is this saying that a problem known is half solved. When you know your problems, definitely you should know how to find solutions to them. We made mention of the factors responsible for people defecting from one party to the other. I gave an example. That is where I want to some extent reduce my attack and blame on individuals. Some of them, not all of them, some of them that defect from one party to the other, some of them. When within the party, when there's lack of transparency within the party, and this thing, you see it very obvious that this thing is not something that should be done.
It's a political deprivation
rather than losing through the processes. You see that as we are human beings, definitely we should have this kind of this feeling. Why should I be treated like this within my own political party? The party I helped to build. When during party primaries, you know you have people, you have your own followers who should support you. Your opponent also have his own followers. And at the end of the day, from nowhere, there is a little excuse to a kind of pushing you out of the contest. And you know rightly you are qualified to contest for this particular position. As human being, definitely you will never be happy to stand with that. And for that reason, I want political parties, especially the leadership of my political party, to ensure that people are treated equally. It may not be that a mechanism should be set in place in a way
I am taking this as your final advice. Yes, right
the
on.
mechanism should be it will be put into consideration, will be put in place in a way to maintain, to handle some of these challenges that comes to the party. When going into convention, we just say something about convention, the forthcoming convention of the APC. If during the convention you have so many people contesting for this position, and you force some of them into stepping down, even when they are not even ready to step down, you use nay or high, how do you call it? Those who are in support will say nay. Those who are, at the end of the day, you just take one position. Meanwhile, you don't give these people equal opportunity, because you already have a kind of prior consideration for a particular person. So the person who is being forced aside, if it's not the person who is principled, at the end of the day, that particular person will not believe that if I could be treated within my political party, then
there is no place for me here.
I have no reason to be.
Come with the heart, your final message to the political class and the nation regarding this issue.
So first and foremost, my message for the political parties: let's, as a matter of urgency, restore internal party democracy. Let there be justice. Let there be ideology. Let there be morality for morality's sake, right? If there is no internal party democracy, I don't think this problem will solve itself. And for the political class, I think now nature is even taking care of that. How do I mean? Remember a certain governor from the South who was very popular, very strong in the PDP, one of the powerful PDP governors. In 2019, or prior to 2019 election, right? He defected from the PDP to the APC. He's a very popular politician in the South, by the way. And the euphoria and the fanfare that followed that defection, you would think that is something that has never ever happened in this country. But today, of recent, I heard him crying for injustice from the same political party, the APC that is in now, in his own home state. So it means he has lost relevance, because people are becoming more enlightened, asking the same question. You were in this place, and this place provided you everything. You now tell us offensive things that are not palatable about the other party. Today you are back to this party. Can we trust you again? That is the people now asking question. Similar thing that happened in my state. It was reported. I'll still go back to the deputy minority leader, because his own is recent.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We can keep on going on. But the most important thing is that let us ensure internal party democracy. If you defeat somebody free, fair, in a credible manner, they will be able to absorb the shock of defeat and remain in order to reconstruct themselves back to relevance. But if you shut the door against them, wrote roughshod about them, and the rest of it, you will be creating political discontentment that is not good, even for the political stability of a nation. This is where we draw the curtain this morning on this issue of the flood of DCAMP and the interest, whose interest does it serve? We have been talking with Comrade Dalhatu Suleiman and Comrade Yahaya Wada. Thank you for being our guest. I remain your host, Ebenezer Oyetakin. But don't change the channel, because the second segment of discourse is on the way.